Hi, I'm Robin Paggi, Training and Development Specialist with WorkLogic HR. Mark Wahlberg and Michelle Williams are currently starring in the movie All the Money in the World. You might have heard that they had to reshoot some of their scenes because castmate Kevin Spacey was let go from the film. How much were they paid? Mark Wahlberg was paid $1.5 million for reshooting his scenes, while Michelle Williams was paid just less than $1,000. Is that legal? Well, that's a great question to ask. We have something that's been in effect for over 50 years called the Equal Pay Act. And this is a federal law that says that men and women have to be paid the same wages for performing the same work. Now, that's been in effect for over 50 years, and yet we still know that men and women don't make the same amount of money. And that's why a couple of years ago, Governor Brown enhanced California's version of the Equal Pay Act called the Fair Pay Act. Under the Fair Pay Act, employers must pay employees the same wages for completing substantially similar work. So it's not for doing the same job, it's for performing substantially similar work. So for example, if you have a janitor and a housekeeper, they're performing pretty much the same kind of work. Traditionally, a janitor is work done by a man, and a housekeeper is work done by a woman. And janitors tend to make more money than housekeepers. And so the Fair Pay Act says that if people are performing substantially similar work, they need to be paid the same amount of money, regardless of sex. However, there are some caveats to that. First of all, seniority. If you have a person who has worked for an organization for a lot longer than someone else, you don't have to pay them the same. Merit. If you have somebody who has more qualifications than someone else performing the same job, you don't have to pay them the same. A system that measures production. If someone is producing way more than someone else performing the same job, you can pay them differently. Or any other bona fide factor other than sex, race, or ethnicity. Governor Brown added race and ethnicity last year to this law. The reason for that is because people of color tend to make less money than whites. And so now the Fair Pay Act says you cannot pay people differently based upon their sex, race, or ethnicity if they are performing substantially similar work. One of the things also that the Fair Pay Act allows is for employees to discuss how much money they're making. And they have the right to ask how much other employees are making without an employer retaliating against them. And finally, employers may not ask for previous salary history from job applicants. It cannot be on the job application, and it cannot be part of the interview process. Now that makes sense because the Fair Pay Act says if people are performing substantially similar work, all things being equal, you're going to pay them the same. So was it illegal for Wahlberg to be paid so much more than Williams? In this case, probably not. Wahlberg does produce box office hits, and he brings in a lot of money for the people who pay him to make their movies. And Williams, while she is well known, just doesn't have that kind of star power. So in this case, it probably was not illegal. But employers always need to ask themselves, if we're paying people differently, why are we doing it? And if somebody asked us about it, could we defend our decision on how much we pay people, and would it hold up in court? I'm Robin Paggi. I'll see you next time.